Hello, Daddy.
Hello, Mom.
Hi.
I want to ask you a question about sex.
Okay.
Why do you have a mustache but I don't?
Where does a child draw a line between being curious of his or her developing body and abusing it?
Good question. Okay, so first of all, Daddy is older than you, right? So when you get to a particular age, when children get to a particular age, certain things begin to change in the way their bodies look.
My body has gone through those changes, and of course, I should be able to answer questions relating to your body. So when you begin to experience those changes, first thing you should actually do is talk to me and ask me what the changes are.
And it happens differently for male children and for female children. So some things begin to change, like the guys begin to grow mustache and beards, and then also their voices begin to get deeper, which means their body is changing.
Like their voice starts to get broad.
Yes, begins to get very deep, and there are also changes in the female body also.
Then another thing is, don't even touch your body. Don't start playing with your private parts. Okay? So
Yes.
don't delve into that, because once you start doing that, the devil takes advantage of it. He makes you become even more curious to say, okay, let me touch myself this way and see if I'm going to enjoy it.
Today in the world, there seems to be a lot of confusion growing around the differences between male and female. But one thing we're sure of is that God created male and female differently. And that's why as they begin to grow, although as babies, they may look a bit alike, but as they begin to grow, their bodies begin to differentiate and the differences become clear. So we make no mistakes about it. Men and women are different and they mature differently. But for you, I can't wait to see you mature and see some beards and mustache on your face.
Hello, beautiful.
How are you doing, Mom?
Good.
Mom, what's an anomaly?
Anomaly. Anomaly is a deviation from what is normal. It can be said, in other words, to be a shift from an acceptable standard or what is expected.
Why do people decide to change their gender?
Is it okay for a boy or a girl to have sexual feelings towards the same gender?
What if a person is different and does not fit into an acceptable standard or what is accepted? Does that make the person bad?
That's a brilliant question. Let me put it this way. In everything a person does, God's spirit should be the guide.
And I think there's generally just some confusion for those people in deciding, oh, I want to be another gender. But what's more important is understanding what God's purpose was. When God created us, He made us clearly as male or female. And I think He was deliberate about that.
Because when God created man, He asked that we multiply and replenish the earth. Okay? So what does it mean to replenish?
To give birth.
Okay, to give birth. So you get married as a woman, you get married to a man, and you replenish the earth. That is the will of God for us.
God has put within each of us an inner sense of right and wrong. And He has given us free will as well. Tell me, have you ever had the feeling not to do something, even though you've not been taught or instructed not to do it?
Yes, I have.
And what was that?
I once wanted to hide my sister's storybook, but when I realized it will make her very sad, I didn't.
Good. And that was your inner sense of right and wrong. You chose to listen to it and do the right thing. Some other person might choose to ignore it and decide to follow a path led by desires.
So for the boys that God made as a boy, God has no intention for him to change from being a boy to a girl. And I think vice versa as well applies. So we must understand this and be cautious and know how we react. Even when you interface with all the social media or the information, you must know what is pleasing to God.
So, but the moment you start to have feelings and act on that feelings towards the same gender, then it is a sin. That's not right. So, if you come across somebody that is having such a feeling, what do you do about it?
You counsel them and you show them love and you pray for them so that they can get over these feelings.
It is important you also show them the word of God.
And the Bible helps us understand that there is a path before a man that seems right, but the end of it is destruction. The truth is, when we are true to God and true to ourselves, we can tell when we are deviating from God's standard and when we are standing out to His glory. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
What is sexual abuse?
There's this saying that sex is a soul tie. What does it mean?
Alright, so sexual abuse is a combination of two words, abuse and sexual. I would like to start with abuse. Abuse is me taking advantage of someone, forcing my will on somebody without their consent. And sexual brings in the elements of sex.
Really, soul tie is a deep emotional connection between two individuals, right? So what that means is that when you have sex with a person, you get deeply connected with the individual, right? And that means a part of you is deposited into that particular individual, and you also take a part of the person with you. It's going to remain in your mind for the rest of your life. It's going to remain in your brain for the rest of your life. And it really brings about a lot of connection between both of you.
Sex. So if I sexually, or if I force my sexual desire, my sexual will on someone without their consent, then it's sexual abuse. It could happen in different forms. Basically, at the bottom of it is the fact that it's non-consensual. So what it means is the other party do not consent to it.
So if that person has a lot of issues, one, spiritually, you become one with the individual, as well as physically. And, physically, it opens the door for a lot of sicknesses. You could get sexually transmitted diseases. And also spiritually, it opens the door as well for the devil to come into one's particular life.
And one of the things you need to understand is the fact that sexual abuse could be as simple as somebody holding your hands, grappling on you and touching you in indecent way without the consent of the other person. Is sexual abuse.
So there's nothing casual about sex. It involves a lot of emotions. And remember, your heart is what you use to serve God. And you really need to guard your heart so much and make sure that you keep your heart clean and pure so that you can serve God in an acceptable manner. So flee away from sex until the right time when you get married, and then you and your wife will remain one forever with no added baggage, right?
Okay. But could I ask you another question?
Oh, sure. What would you like to ask?
Does that mean that when you're married, the person who you've already had sex with before, does it mean a part of that person is still with you?
After marriage, those memories will not go away. You're going to have to deal with it. You will keep seeing the individual. Even if you don't see the individual again, right in your heart, you will continue to remember that experience for a very, very long time. So it's usually better to stay away from it to ensure that you don't have to deal with the baggage of soul tie as you continue in life, right?
Okay, thank you.
What is indecent exposure?
Knowing where modern day technology has played a rise in pornography addiction, how can a modern day teenager navigate his way on the internet without getting caught in its negative web?
I must say that's a very good question. Reports have stated that at an average age of 11 years, teenagers have been exposed to adult content online, and because they have access to smartphone, they can easily be drawn into this world where they find it difficult to help themselves out.
Indecent exposure is where someone does not dress properly. You wear some certain clothes that reveal certain parts of your body, which is not good.
So if you're exposed to such content, especially because of the way the social media or internet algorithm works, you watch something now and the next thing, it brings out a page you never requested for. So you have to be very careful. So if such content pops up, you have to leave such an environment and make sure you're not alone. Be outside, you can play with your friends, do other activities. And if you find yourself in a situation whereby you'll keep going back to watch those contents, what you have to do is to exercise self-control.
For instance, have you seen where someone wears a half top and their tummy is showing and a short skirt? And then have you also seen where some people dress, they will wear a transparent dress and their undies and all that is showing? That's not nice.
And this is because it has a negative effect on our brain. There is a chemical in our brain called dopamine that is released after such rewarding after effects of watching pornography. So it has a very negative effect. It can makes you get addicted. So when you find yourself in such an environment, you need to take yourself out.
Just as we keep our minds clean, we should also dress the right way. You know, if you're a girl, you wear it, the dresses should be above your knee. The boys should wear the proper trouser.
So in this instance, you need to channel that dopamine, release that chemical into another activity that has a positive effect.
How can an individual control what they see when they can't control the way other people dress?
Yes. It's a bit difficult, but the only way to do this is to ask God for help. Because a lot of people dress, inappropriately, and you that you are seeing them, it's difficult for you to take in some of these things. So the only way to do it is to ask God for help. And if the person happens to be maybe your friend, you can advise the person, or you look away. It's not easy because you will see such people all around you every day of your life. So
if a child is caught in his negative web of addiction, how can he or she break free?
The only way is to always constantly ask God for help.
It takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort for someone to break free from addiction. So, however, we have baby steps. You can take baby steps by clearing your browser, taking out your gadget from your room, then speaking with your parents, and they will be in a better position to seek professional help. And in all, you need a supportive family. You need a supportive background. You need someone to support you through it all.
Because sometimes it can cause one to sin. You may even start thinking that is the right way to dress, which is not. So basically, it's for you to ask God to help you. And if it's possible to avoid such people, if you happen to be in the same place, if it's possible, fine. But if it's not, I think it's best to look away and ask God for help. The Holy Spirit to help you to control your thoughts and what you see. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you very much, David.